Right, welcome to Frank Teaches DevOps, my lovely viewers. So in today's class, we will be looking. Yesterday we saw what is automation. We saw CI/CD. We saw examples of CI/CD, and we finally saw what is Jenkins. All right, and we were able to install Jenkins on an EC2 instance, and we saw the entire process and we got the Jenkins dashboard. So today we shall be looking at managing Jenkins. All right, what are those other sections of Jenkins? Sections like the plugins, which is at the core of Jenkins. We also have to configure systems, manage nodes and cloud, global tools configuration, security, and credentials. Okay, I need to add something that should be users. Let me add this here. Bam, 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 bam. Okay. All right. Under managing credentials, let me say managing Jenkins users. All right, Jenkins users. Then role based authorization strategy. All right, so great. So without further ado, let's hop onto my instance EC2. So quickly, so I'll be doing this. I'll be creating an EC2 instance, so where I can install my Jenkins server. I'm using Amazon Linux. Okay, today let me use Ubuntu. Yesterday I used Amazon. Today let me use Ubuntu, right? Great, Ubuntu. So I'll be using 20.04. Instance type T2 micro. The key pair is Frankie. The network settings, I will select my VPC, my subnet 2. I'll select my security group. Then this 8 GB is fine. Then I will say launch. Alright, so let's view the instance. So it takes some time. Let me pause because this recorder, let's start it. So go to my terminal, paste that, yes, and we are up, right? So sudo -i. All right, let me go back. Now we need to install Jenkins. So what I'll do is I'll go to jenkins.io.
Have you started recording?
Yeah, I've started. Thank you. I've started. Jenkins.io. I'll go to download. Then I'll look for my stable release. So I'll come to Ubuntu, right? So there is Ubuntu. So under Ubuntu, just copy everything you see. Copy. Come here. Paste. Enter. Perfect. Okay. Do the same thing. Copy. Just copy. Come here. Paste. Enter. Updates. Okay, updating the server takes some time, so let's wait. Alright, so server has been updated. Now we need to install font config and openjdk GRE 17. Let's go back there. Let's see. Yes. Alright, Java is there. OpenJDK 17. All right, so let's check if Java has been installed. Java dash version. So the Java version is 17. Perfect. So the next line is to install Jenkins. Let's install Jenkins. Say why. Great. All right, so let's check the status of Jenkins. Systemctl status Jenkins is up and running. So you all know that Jenkins runs on port 8080. So for that, I'll check my public IP. So the command to check your public IP from the terminal is call space ident.me. Ident means identify. Alright, identify.me. So here is my public IP. Copy that, come to your browser and paste it. So Jenkins runs on port 8080 column 8080. Don't forget, guys. All right, so great. So the same thing we did yesterday, fetching the initial admin password. So what I'll do, I'll just copy everything here. I'll copy, then I'll go to my terminal. I'll just say cat and paste that guy. Cat that guy, enter. It's saying permission denied, so I'll say sudo cat that guy. All right, sudo cat that guy. I'll have the initial password. So copy it, come over here and paste it. So we've gone through this process before, so let me pause it as well. I've started the recording. So this is where we stopped yesterday. All right, so today we shall be looking at what? Managing Jenkins. Okay, so in managing Jenkins there are different areas. Okay, there's a section for system configuration. So under system configuration we have configuring global system settings, tools, plugins, nodes, clouds. All right, that's under system configuration. Then security. Under security we have credentials, providers, and we have users. Okay, I think those are the two sections we shall channel our energy. Okay, and if you want to see information about Jenkins, you can click about Jenkins, right, to give you the version of Jenkins you're running is version 2. This the leading open source automation server which enables developers around the world to reliably build, test, and deploy their solution. All right, so that's it. So let's go back. Manage Jenkins. So now let's start with what? System. Let's see what we can do under setting global system settings. Let's open that guy. So if I open this section, we're going to explain few things that we need to do. All right, few things that we can do. 1 second, guys. 1 second.
So, alright, you dey build a house and you dey advise other people not to build a house.
1 second, guys. 1 second, please. All right, so now yesterday, if you could still remember, I said that the Jenkins home directory is on /var/lib/Jenkins. So if I go on my terminal, sudo dash I. If I say cd var lib Jenkins, all right, pwd var lib Jenkins. Now if I open this directory, I will see a lot of things, all right, a lot of supporting files. Now if I open users, let's see what we have under users. I should see the admin user. Can you see now? Because this is the first user that got created, all right, that got created. So this is actually the home directory, the root path of what the Jenkins server. So that's why you have it here. By default, Jenkins stores all of its data in this directory on the file system var lib Jenkins. That's it. So system messages, this message will be displayed at the top of the Jenkins main page. This can be useful for posting notifications to your users. That's optional. Number of executors, blah blah blah. Okay, now there's a default settings that says use this node as much as possible. When we get into pipelining, all right, we shall come across something like this keyword again. We shall come across this phrase, use this node as much as possible. What this thing means is that you should continue using this node as a Jenkins agent. All right, continue using this node as the Jenkins agent. Now only build jobs with label expressions matching this node. Now if you create a job, what this thing means is if you create a job, on that job you will create a label, and that label must match where the job will be deployed to. That's what this second option means. While this first option is anywhere, your job should run on the instance any day, anytime. Right? There's no restriction with this option. That's why it says, well, use this node as much as possible. Quiet period, SCM, checkout, retry. Please mute. Collins, mute. I beg, mute. Collins, mute. I beg, mute. Collins, I beg.
Okay.
Mute now. They mute you. Unmute yourself.
Sorry.
All right. So the next section is Jenkins location. Under Jenkins location, we shall look at the Jenkins URL. You can see what we have here is the same thing as what we have on my browser here. All right. What we have here is what we have here. So what we are trying to do today is we are showing us around Jenkins what you can get, what, where you can get A or where you can get B. All right. So we are showing us around Jenkins. All right. Getting familiar with the Jenkins environment. Now that's that. So these guys can also be changed. If my IP address to this server changes, I have to come back here to update this Jenkins URL. I need to come here and update it. If I change this IP address to a domain name, I still have to come back here to update it. Why? Because there are agents that get connected to this Jenkins server. Those agents needs to point to this Jenkins server, and if this Jenkins server is not correct, this Jenkins URL in this space is not correct, all right, those integration is going to fail. Those integrations, they are going to fail. All right, so this guy is very important. Okay, we shall see a scenario. I'll show us a scenario where the URL has changed, but we've not come here to update the URL. I'll show us. System admin email address. You can always set the system admin email address. You can say maybe frankisinfotech@yahoo.com as the case may be. Server resource files from another domain is not necessary. Global properties. Now if you need to integrate, which is part of this class, we are going to see how to build and publish Docker images on AWS ECR. We are going to look at how to automate when we shall get to Jenkins pipeline. All right, we're going to look at how to automate the deployment, Dockerize your image, and push and publish that image on what? Either Docker Hub, on Docker Hub and AWS ECR. We are going to see all of that. Now, why I took us down to that course content is because of these environment variables. You can see here global properties. So Jenkins, you can actually create environment variables on Jenkins and call those environment variables on your Jenkins script. You call those environment variables on your Jenkins pipeline. So you can come here, you select this option, environment variables. You can now click on what? Add. Click on add. So you can say AWS underscore access underscore key. You give the value 1 2 3 4 5 ABC. Let's say this is the access key. You add another environment variable, AWS underscore secret underscore access underscore key. You give the value. Let me copy this value. Alright, so this is how you keep creating what? Environment variables. You can also add environment variable for database. You can say db underscore name and give it the name of the database. Alright, maybe you've created an RDS on AWS. Alright, and let me just show us quickly so that we feel this thing as we do them. I don't need to database now, RDS. Okay, it's like, do I have databases? Let me create a database quickly. Base easy create, just easy create. MySQL, dev test. I can also say free tier. Here is database name. Alright, user is admin, password is auto generated. Okay, then create database. This is just easy create. I just want to show us something. Now this database is going to close. It's going to create for me an endpoint. Alright, now click on the database identifier, which is the database name. So from this database, we are going to get an endpoint. The endpoint is not yet generated. Alright, because the database is still in the creation phase. Alright, so I'll come back to this place when the creation of the database is complete. Alright, so let's go back to Jenkins. Okay, so pipeline speed reliability, use pipeline default max survivability. I don't know much about this guy. Let's keep scrolling. Global build timeouts. I've never used these guys. Administrative monitors, I've not used these guys. Default notification, I've not used these guys. GitHub server. Okay, so I've not used this GitHub server though. Alright, so this is if you want to deploy from Jenkins to a GitHub server. Alright, I think this is where you perform that. You set up the integration between Jenkins and GitHub server. API usage, enterprise server, global pipeline, Git plugin. I've not used any of these. Shell, email notification, Bam, 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 bam. Bam, bam, bam. All right. So let me show us the common things that you will see under what system, global system. First thing first is the Jenkins home directory. After that, the next one is Jenkins location, which is the Jenkins URL. I think those are the two major. Then the global properties, environment variable. I think those are the three major common features under this system that you can use if you want to use it. Let me check this guy if it's done. It's still creating, right? So it's just to pick the endpoint. I'll come back. We'll come back here. It's still creating. It's still creating. Close. It's still creating. All right. Okay. So now let's go back to what manage Jenkins. So once you're done, you can click on apply, then save. All right. We shall come back to here to update the environment variable. Now let's go to what back to manage Jenkins. So we've seen what global settings. Now let's look at tools. Let's look at what we can do under tools. So under tools, you can integrate, you can install third-party tools on Jenkins. Third-party tools like you can install Maven, you can install Gradle, you can install Ant, you can install anything on Jenkins under tools. So let's see. Now here is Maven configuration. So Maven is a tool for building Docker applications. All right. If you need to build Docker applications, you most of the time, 99% of the time, you make use of what Maven. All right. And default settings provider. I need to come down somewhere. JDK installation. If you need to install Java development kit, though I've not used these guys, I'll show us where we need to install Maven, not this very Maven configuration. Git installation, I'll show us another place where we need to use this Git. Alright, now here is Gradle. If you need to use Gradle, you can just click on add Gradle. Alright, but let's look at Maven. So if I need to use Maven in my build, I can just come here, add Maven, then I'll give it a name. I'll say Maven 3.8. Alright, then I'll come here. I will come and select the Maven version. It's saying that I should install automatically. So what? See, if you look at this Jenkins server, there is no Maven command. MVN is telling me that MVN not found, but can be installed with apt install Maven. I don't want to go through this process. So let me see if I can install this guy automatically from Jenkins GUI. So 3.8, let me search for 3.8. 3.8.3.8.3. All right. So 3.8.3, that's the Maven name. It's going to install automatically. Then I'll click on apply, then save. All right. So let's check our DB. All right, our DB has been successfully created. Let's refresh. Great. Now look at the endpoint now. This endpoint can copy this endpoint. Copy. Go back to your Jenkins. Come to your system configuration. Click on it and go to environment variables. Under environment variables, here's your DB name and paste your your endpoint. Click on apply and click on save. So if I need to use this database, I'll call this variable name in my Jenkins script. Right? So that's how I will call these values. I'll call this variable name on my Jenkins script. Similar thing, I'll call this variable name on my Jenkins script. So we're going to do it when we shall get to building and publishing images to Docker Hub and AWS ECR. We shall come back to environment variables to show us how to use secrets and environment, how to use environment variables to store our secrets. All right, because this guy is now our secret. You can't expose these values. All right, so apply and save. Great, so that's it. So I was on somewhere, manage Jenkins, come to tools. So we've installed this guy, right? Maven installation. So let's check if I have Maven here now. Alright, well, let me exit. Sudo, let me exit completely, come back in. I know deal, you know the. Alright, so though I don't know, maybe I have to restart them. Let me try something. Sudo reboot. Let me try to reboot and see if this error is called crumb, and from time to time you will experience this kind of error. You always see it, but there's a way we can disable this error so that you won't see it. This error is very annoying. I'll show us how to disable this error. Let me duplicate this Jenkins page. Let me duplicate and let me go back. All right, let me log in again. Admin 1 2 3 4. So let me quickly go and disable that error. All right, go to manage Jenkins. I think that option is under security. So open security. It's coming up because it's always I'm doing it so that I'm doing it because I might not see it again. Look at now, default crumb issuer. So this error is like a bug in Jenkins, but the only way you can stop seeing this guy is by enabling proxy compatibility. Let's check this question mark to see what's there. Now it says some HTTP proxies filter out information that the default crumb issuer uses to calculate the onus value. If an HTTP proxy sits between your browser client and your Jenkins server and you receive a 403 response, look at this now, a 403 response when submitting a form to Jenkins, checking this option may help. Checking this option may help. Using this option makes the onus value easier to forge. So you can see it's a kind of a workaround to this error. If I refresh this again, I'll still get this error. It's still there. So now let's do something. I'll enable it. Once it's been enabled, I will apply and I will save. So refresh. Why you bring us come here? I don't save you now. Now save now. Save. Security. Now it has been updated. Refresh. But if we go back, we won't be able to see that error anymore. Alright, so if I apply and save, that error will not come back again. Remember, we went to set security. Alright, so we just finished tools. So tools, under tools, you have the opportunity to install any tool, any build tool. You can install Gradle, you can install Ant, you can install Maven. Alright, and once you install it on Jenkins, you have to come to the terminal, Jenkins server itself, to install it, because these that you've installed here will be used on the pipeline. Alright, will be used on the pipeline. So save. The next on the list is plugins. Jenkins plugins is at the core of Jenkins. You can't do anything on Jenkins without a plugin. If I need to talk If I need to integrate AWS with Jenkins, I'll install a plugin. If I need to integrate Docker with Jenkins, I will install a plugin. If I need to integrate Kubernetes with Jenkins, I will install a plugin. So plugin is very, very important in Jenkins. So let's go to plugins and see what's in there. So click on plugins. Now you always see updates. If there are updates, if there are plugins that you need to update. Now available plugins is the plugins that you need to install. They are available in the Jenkins market. Installed plugins, these are plugins that have already been installed. You can see we have ants. So once you see this check, they are already installed. All right. You remember when we were initializing Jenkins, we were told we were presented with suggested plugins. So these are the suggested plugins. We've not installed any plugin. All right. Now to install a plugin. Now let's check the install plugin. You can see there's no Docker plugin here. Now let me go to what available plugins. Under available plugins, I will search for the plugin that I want. I need to install Docker. So I'll see different Docker plugins. Maybe I want to install Docker like this. Then I need to install Docker build step. I need to install so this Docker will give me Docker pipeline as well. Docker pipeline, sorry. So I'm installing 3 different Docker plugins. 3 different plugins from Docker. Okay. Alright. So once I've checked those boxes, I'll come here and I'll click on what? Install. Let's look at other options that are here. Install and restart. Install after restart. I don't want to do that. I want to install it directly. So click on install. So it's going to install all these Docker plugins. Alright. So let's give it some time. The plugins has been installed. Alright. I don't want to restart this Jenkins server. So what I will do, I'll go back to installed. Remember the first time that we searched for Docker, we didn't see it. But now if I check for Docker now, you can see that we now have Docker installed. Docker API, Docker pipeline, Docker plugin, Docker commons, Docker build steps. So these are the installed plugins. So if I want to uninstall this plugin, all I need to do is just to check this box. Or I'll just click this X. Uninstall Docker pipeline. Click the X. Are you sure? Yes. Are you sure you want to uninstall Docker pipeline? I'll say yes. It will go. Search for Docker again. I can as well disable this. You can see that guy has gone. Uninstallation pending. I can remove this guy here as well. Change will take effect when you restart the system. The same way, I can off it. Okay, there are plugins dependencies. Okay, just uninstall from here. Just close that X. This X. Docker. X. Yes. Then Docker commons. We still have more Docker. X. We still have more Docker. And finally X. Alright? So you can see all the Dockers are gone. Docker, they are all gone. Alright? But I need to restart the system. So if I go to I come to, let me see something. Docker. I'll still have them. They say what? On installation pending until the server is restarted. So let's restart the server one more time. If I come here, sudo systemctl restart Jenkins. Sorry, the service. Restart the service. So if I refresh this guy, it will tell us that Jenkins is restarting. Alright, great. So please wait while Jenkins is getting ready to work. Your browser will be ready. So it's back now. Admin 1 2 3 4. It is back. it didn't happen. Come back to Jenkins nodes, right? Node. So I'm going to show us a glimpse of how to add virtual machines. You can add on-premise virtual machines on the cloud to your Jenkins server. The idea is so that Jenkins should be able to manage those virtual instances. Managing those virtual instances such that you can automate deployments from Jenkins to those EC2 instances. So we're going to see a process where we will demonstrate that, right? Where we will demonstrate that. All right, so you can see now this node we are seeing is called built-in node. This is the Jenkins server itself. It's a Jenkins server itself. All right, so this is what I will do. I want to add a node. I'll click on what? New node. I'll give it a name. Let me call it Node.js server. All right, so on this Node.js server, right, then the agent type is going to be a permanent agent. All right, so Jenkins uses agents, so I'll click on what? Create. Now CO, the name of this node is Node.js server. I will scroll. Remote root directory. What this guy means is, in which directory is Jenkins going to store all these supporting files for the Node.js application? Because I want to deploy a Node.js application onto this node. All right, so in which locations? I'll just say /home/ec2 user. So this will be the remote root directory where Jenkins is going to save all the supporting documents pertaining to Node.js or whatever I'm going to build on the server. Then I think that's all. Now the usage. Now look at that usage we saw some times ago. Use this node as much as possible. Yes, that's the option. Use this node as much as possible. Now Jenkins uses agents to connect to allow integrations. Let me show something here. Lucid. Oh, so Jenkins uses agents to connect to what? Let me delete this database, I beg. So Jenkins uses agents to connect to perform integrations. So now that is where this section launch method. The launch method is launch agent by connecting it to a controller. Now launch agent via SSH. There are two methods. It's either you're launching the agent via SSH or you're going to launch the agent via connecting it to a controller. So if I click on this SSH, you see that the prompt has changed. I don't want to use SSH. Let's use a simpler one, connecting it to the controller. Very simple. I think that's all. Then scroll. Now this guy is giving us an error. He's saying either WebSocket mode is selected or TCP port for inbound agents must be enabled. Now there's a TCP port that Jenkins uses to connect to external service. That port is port 50,000. The Jenkins agent runs on port 50,000. Let me duplicate this page. Let me show us that port. Come to security. Come to security. Is it under security? No, it's not under security. Okay, yes, it's under security. This is the agent. This agent is disabled. You can see it's disabled. So that's why we are saying that we are seeing this red tag here. Or the TCP port for inbound agents must be enabled. It is disabled. So if I do something like this now, if I click on random, apply, and save, see, so it's going to pick random number within the range of 50,000. Now let me start now. This is the Jenkins server. Then this is your EC2 instance. For you to connect the EC2 instance to the Jenkins server, you must create a Jenkins node. That Jenkins node is going to come with the Jenkins agent. It is the Jenkins agent that you will install on this server. It is the Jenkins agent that you're going to install on this EC2 instance. So once you have installed the Jenkins agent, automatically the EC2 instance will be connected to your Jenkins server. Then going forward, Jenkins server will be able to manage the EC2 instance, meaning that Jenkins server can perform deployment from the Jenkins to the EC2 instance. Let's practicalize all of that. Now I have enabled this port in the range of, under security, 50,000. So Jenkins agent runs on port 50,000. All right, that's if you say a fixed port. If you say a fixed port, but if you say a random port, it's going to select between from 50,000 up. Okay, so now let's see, we might end up, this error might go off. Let's see, let me see something. This and back, this error should go off. Now the error is off. The error is off because we have enabled that TCP agent port. Let me disable it. So I try to do this and off again. I don't want to refresh this page. That's why I'm doing all of these things. So that is gone. So let me disable it. Disable, apply, and save. Save. Let's come back here. So let me come here, do this, and come back. You can see it's now telling me that I need to enable that port. So whenever you see this error, just know that you need to go to security to put on the agent port, TCP port for inbound agents. So I don't want to put it at a random number. I want to put it at a fixed number, and the port number is 50,000. That's the agent port number. I'll click on apply. Now click on save. I'll click on save. It's been saved. If I come back here and I do this thing, it's gone. That error is gone, right? Great. So let's scroll. I think we are through. We are through. So here also you can set environment variables, which will be specific to the Node.js server. So I don't want to set any environment variable. I just want to keep it simple. So let's do a recap. The server name, the server home directory, and use this node as much as possible. That's by default. Then the agent. Where's that agent? we were having that error here, the TCP inbound agent. So click on save. The moment you click on save, we are going to have a Node.js server, and you will see an X here. This X indicates that Jenkins has not been able to integrate with this server. So this is what I will do. I will click this server name. I'll click it. The moment you click it, you're going to see connection string, how to connect from Jenkins to the server. Now this is run from agent command line, right? This for Linux and this for Windows. This is how you connect a Windows server to a Jenkins server, and this is how you connect a Linux server to a Jenkins server. All right, so we have this now. Let's go back. Now let's go to AWS. Let's create an EC2 instance. Look at our nodes. We are done with creating the node on Jenkins. Now we are going to go to AWS to create the virtual server. So that virtual server, we are going to connect that server to what? To Jenkins. Let's see now. Come over here. Have I deleted this database? Yes, deleted. Dashboard databases. Okay, gone. Now come to what? Come to EC2. Launch an instance. Let me call it Node.js server. You can call it any name, but just to identify it. The OS is Amazon Linux. T2 key pair is Frankie. Network VPC. Sub security group Frank SG. That's all. Create, launch. So now this guy is getting launched. All right, so it's still showing X. So we will want to connect. We want to install the agent, the Jenkins agent, on the EC2 instance, because we have prepared the agent. Let's go back to this place. Come back here now. Now look at something now. Look at what you're doing now. You're downloading this agent.jar from the Jenkins server. All right. So the home direct. Look at the home directory that we set. That home EC2 user. That's the home directory. So everything will be installed in this home directory. All right. So let's check. So our Node.js is up and running. Let's copy it. Copy connection string. Copy. So let's come over here. Let's launch it. So now this guy is up, but this guy is not yet connected because we have not installed the agent. So I'll come back to my Jenkins server. All right, I'll copy this guy. Copy this first command. Copy it. Copy. I'll come over here. I will paste it. See, it's empty. I'll paste it. So this will download this agent.jar file. Now let's check now. I have the what? Agent.jar file. I have downloaded this agent.jar file from the Jenkins server. Now come back. Now it will use this agent.jar file that I downloaded to connect with the secret. This is the secret key to connect my EC2 instance to what? To Jenkins. Let's go back. So copy this last one. Right click. Copy. Come here. I'll paste. Before I hit enter, let's show us one more thing. CO node. This node is still showing what? X, right? It's still showing X. Now let me launch this guy now. So if I launch this guy, it's saying that Java not found. So I need to install Java. So I will say sudo yum install java-17. I'm installing Java version 17. Alright, so I need to install Java for me to use a Java command. So Java is getting installed. So it takes some time. Let me pause. I'll be right back. Okay, Java has been installed. Now let's recall that command. This is the command. I will hit enter. I'll hit enter. Nice. See what it's telling me. It's telling me that this guy has been connected. Now this agent uses a protocol called JNLP. This agent uses a protocol called JNLP, which is Java Network. Let's look for the meaning. JNLP, Java Network Launch Protocol. That's the protocol that the agent uses, and this protocol runs on port 50,000. It runs on port 50,000. Now this guy has been connected. We are seeing this indication that I have successfully connected. I've installed the agent on the server, and you can see agent discovery successful, and there was a handshake. There was a handshake, and now it's now connected. So I have connected my EC2 instance to my Jenkins server. Let's come here and check. If I come here now, if I refresh this guy now, this X will go off. If I refresh, you can see this guy is now connected. It's now telling me that this architecture is a Linux machine, and that the disk space is free disk space is 5.78 GB. Let's check if that's correct. Okay, I need to run this thing in the background. See, look at now, it has taken ownership of my terminal, so I will terminate it. Control C. It has been terminated. If I refresh now, I will get that X back again. Can you see now? This guy is back to offline. This X means that this server is offline. So now let's go back now. So let's recall that command. So as I've recalled the command, I'm going to run it in the background. I'll use my ampersand. So I'll hit enter. So it's now connected. I have my terminal now to myself. So I'll check df-th. What is it saying? Available is 5.8 GB. 5.78, which is free space 5.78. That's okay. If I refresh now, I should have refresh. No, now. What's happening? As the disk space is too low. Okay, disk space is too low. Only this left on /temp. So I'm having this error. There's an error that my disk space is too low. So I'm having my temporary files. So let's see how we can delete some files from the temporary folder. Sudo ls-l/temp. So you can see there are a lot of temporary files in my /temp folder. So whenever this your temp folder becomes full, it will always throw up a certain error. So it's also telling us that disk space is low. Alright, now let's still check df-th. Look at, okay, use this guy. Why is it complaining? So let me see how I can remove all the files under /temp. I'm removing all the files because it's a temporary folder. Now let me refresh this now. I'm still having that challenge. It's still showing this free space. Why now? So it's requesting we increase the size of the disks. All right, but it's saying that agent is connected, but it's because of the disk space is too slow. So let's do something. Let's increase the disk size. It will require me to. All right, let me not digress. Let me not digress so that we can finish on time. But have it at the back of your mind when we get to, where is this place? when we get to content number 9, we shall go through this process again. I was just showing us how to use manage nodes and clouds under what? Managing what? Jenkins. All right, under managing Jenkins. So great, guys. So this is how you get to connect your what? Your Jenkins server to your EC2 instance by going to the node section. Can you see that? So we were able to connect, install the agents on the EC2 instance. Now next on the list, they will call it a day, is clouds. Now if I need to integrate Jenkins with Kubernetes, I'm going to come under what? Cloud. Or I need to integrate Jenkins with Docker. Alright, let me just say Kubernetes. Now what I will do, I'll go back to Jenkins. I'll go back to what? Manage plugins. Then I'll come to available. I will search for Kubernetes and I will install the Kubernetes plugin. Credentials, CLI. I think those are the ones. Install. Remember, we shall still come back to this Jenkins Kubernetes integration when we shall talk about what? Continuous deployment. So this will be our project. So it is after you've done this number 11. It's after you've done this number 11, my brother, then you can beat your chest that you are now 98% DevOps ready. 98% DevOps ready. So the 2% is for Terraform. The 2%, because automation is the peak, is the pivot of DevOps. You trying to automate your code base, your application, and you deploy it into your Kubernetes cluster, it is the pivot of DevOps. All right, it's a pivot. So all those who couldn't continue with us, they feel they've learned, but I'm sorry, they've not learned anything. All right. So here is the beauty. We are going to see one other beauty when we shall demonstrate how to build and push Docker images to your container registry, either Docker Hub or AWS ECR. Okay, because when you're automating your code base, you have to Dockerize your images, your code. Once they have been Dockerized, you have to save them as an image on your container registries, either Docker Hub or ECR. So if you don't know this part, my brother, what are you doing? All right. So yes, so this is the part, and that will be the beauty of this whole process. Now Jenkins has installed this Kubernetes plugin. Now let's come back to manage Jenkins. Let's go to cloud. If I click on cloud, I come to new cloud. You can see now it wasn't like this before. Click on new cloud. Once you click on new cloud, you see that you have Kubernetes here. So once you select Kubernetes, you can give it a name. Let's give it a name. Kate. Click on create. So the moment you click on create, you can come here, Kubernetes cloud details. Click on Kubernetes cloud details. This is how you can integrate a Kubernetes cluster to your what? To your Jenkins server, so that you would be able to perform what we call continuous deployment. That being said, we are still on the introduction. Oh, I am touching every area. All right. That being said, I want to bring today's session to a close. But before we do that, is there any question? Is there any question?
Related to the class, but previous class.
Ask now, ask. No gets.
Okay, I joined in between, so I think I have gaps.
Which one?
So I don't know how the previous classes you had with the group. This is Lola speaking.
No worry. Just pick this one. I get you. All right.
Okay.
No worry now. No worry. I just say now. It's class related. No worry. Now what we will discuss. I just say now about
Yeah.
the.
That was why I said I'll
But pick
prioritize.
this ones you're doing now. Please pick it up. Right. Pick it
Oh,
up,
sure.
please. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Web server 3, web server 4. My app 1, app 2, app 3, app 4. If I want to install or manage the databases, let's say for instance, this is just small. Let me increase it. That's 8. All right. Now this is 24 servers. I want to manage these 24 servers centrally with Ansible. This Ansible controller, or let me call it EC, this is a machine too, but this machine is called the controller. It's just a name, controller. From this machine, you want to manage all of these guys. You want to manage all of these guys at once. This is DB1, DB2, up to DB8. If I need to install a package on DB1, I will log into the DB1 as I do here. I'll go to AWS, copy the connection string. I'll log in. I'll install. I'll log out. I'll log into DB2. I'll do the same thing. Log into DB3. Do DB4, DB5. I've not done web server, so DB8. Now, imagine the time it will take me to go through all these DBs to install a package on them. Then I will come to web server. I will do similar thing. I'll come to React. I will do similar thing. It will take me the whole day. It's a full day. It's even more than one day job. But with Ansible, I just need to create a EC2 instance, install Ansible on this machine, then create SSH. All right, then connect to these machines via SSH. So once I connect to these machines via SSH, Ansible will be able to manage all of these guys at once. So once that is established, I'll now start creating my playbook. That's what we call playbook. Ansible playbook. Ansible playbook that is going to target the machines, these machines under DB, these machines under web servers, these machines under React.js app. So it will just be one command. It will just install all my services that I need on the corresponding servers. So that's why Ansible is termed as a configuration manager. You deploy packages, applications on EC2 instances or virtual machines on premise using what? Ansible. Now they might ask you what's the difference between Terraform and Ansible. Terraform is designed naturally to provision infrastructure to the cloud. Though Ansible has those modules that you could use to provision infrastructure to the cloud, but that was not the original design of Ansible. The original design of Ansible was to perform configuration management. You've gotten your EC2 instances. Now you want to install application on those EC2 instances. You use Ansible. That is what Ansible is designed to do. So Terraform cannot do what Ansible can do, but Ansible can do what Terraform could do. But you're going to write a lot of modules because that is not by default the nature of Ansible. Does that make sense?
Thank you, sir. Look forward to the video. Thank you so much.
No, it did my channel. I have a
Okay.
full
Fine.
video on Ansible, but no rush.
Fine.
But if your head go carry, no wahala. Go, I get A to Z about 7 videos up till Ansible rules. All right. Any other question, guys?